Crowhill here. Today we review a spiced ale and ask, why isn't English the official language of the United States? Hey, good evening, Pigweed.
Good evening, Crowhill.
All right, how's it
How
going?
about some beer and conversation?
That sounds like a great idea. What are we drinking?
This is a festive, spiced holiday ale.
All right, fantastic.
Yes.
Very good.
So what's on your mind?
Well, I'm wondering, English is obviously the language of the majority of Americans. It's been the language of all of our laws and everything. Why isn't it the official language of the country?
Oh, haven't you heard?
No.
Where were you March 1st, 2025, when Donald J. Trump passed, by the authority invested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, I hereby order that English is the official language of the United States.
Can you do that?
There it is.
Okay. All right. You think it's over then?
Well, not really.
No?
It's not like we cancel the show.
Okay.
Because the problem has been solved. Or we'll discuss what the problem is or could be.
Yeah.
Because it just like a lot of things, it just sounds nice.
It just sounds nice, yeah. But
doesn't mean much. Doesn't mean much.
Okay, well, this means a lot. This is Old Fezziwig Ale.
Old Fezziwig.
Fezziwig was the old guy that Scrooge was apprenticed to.
Yeah.
And
he was a really nice... even Scrooge, as awful as he was, had such warm things to say
about Fezziwig. He must have been a good guy.
He must have been a good guy. So
this is Sam Adams, and Sam Adams is a very reliable brewer.
So, it's rich. It says rich and spice. We should be getting some toffee notes. What else does it say what else am I trying to look for here? Malt character.
Yeah. All right.
Rich dark caramel.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's all those things, but it's not horribly strong. Like sometimes you get a craft beer and it says toffee notes and the toffee just kind of punches you in the face or has, dark character. This one is still drinkable and enjoyable, and it definitely has those characteristics.
Yes, it's a 5.9. It's not one of those big heavy hitters.
Right.
But those toffee notes are on the back end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I like it. I'm getting just a touch of the astringency of the spices. Just a little tiny bit.
Right, but you're not getting like what would be noticed, which you would go, oh, there's the cinnamon, there's the nutmeg, your standard holiday spices.
That's right.
Not really,
yeah.
but
you can tell that it's spiced, but it's not too. It's standard Sam Adams.
It's very Sam Adams.
When Sam Adams takes a style, they go right down the middle, and they hit it exactly right, and they don't push anything too far. No. And that's what they're doing here.
It's not overdone.
It's very well done. I like it. Okay, so English. What did Donald Trump actually do?
We did. Well, you want me to give you the presidential action here?
Yeah.
Because it's very nicely worded.
In English?
Yes, from the founding of our republic, English has been used as our national language. Our nation's historic governing documents, including the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, have all been written in English. It's therefore long past time that English is declared the official language of the United States. Boomity boomity boom. In welcoming new Americans, a policy of encouraging the learning and adoption of our national language will make the United States a shared home and empower new citizens to achieve the American dream. Mm-hmm. Speaking English not only opens doors economically, but it helps newcomers engage in their communities, participate in national traditions, and give back to our society. Mm-hmm. This order recognizes and celebrates the long tradition of multilingual Americans who have learned English and passed it to their children for generations to come.
Right.
So the sentiment is all right where it needs to be.
Yeah.
It's like a functioning country has to have a national identity.
Right.
That national identity has to be founded in a common language.
Right.
And that's why we should be doing this.
Yes. So I was
here it is. So okay.
I was curious how many countries in the world have a official language and how many don't.
Yeah.
So there's something like 195 countries in the world.
Okay.
And about 150 have an official language.
Okay.
So, some don't. And some countries have multiple languages.
Yeah.
Like Canada, English and French. Switzerland, German,
four,
French,
right?
Italian, and Romansh.
Oh, I didn't know what that four. I was reading the same thing that they have four. I'm like, I give you three.
Yeah, I don't even know what Romansh is. Is that like the Gypsies language? I don't know.
No.
Okay, India, Hindi plus English.
Right.
South Africa has 11 official languages. No wonder it's a basket
Well,
case.
there you go.
Yep. Belgium has Dutch, French, and German. So there are countries that have multiple languages, and then
There aren't that many people just floating around going, we don't have any national language.
not a lot. So something like 20% have multiple languages, but most countries have a single language. So the question is, why did countries go from a single language to multiple languages, or vice versa?
Right, and even the ones that have that, like, let's just say Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
Officially, it's, I don't know, whatever they're speaking, Malaysia and English and something else. However, all government and businesses are conducted in English.
Right.
I don't know if that's in the charter somewhere or whatever, but sort of the common shared language is in English. And Guyana in South America, officially, and I think Belize also is
English.
English.
Yeah. Yes, and there's good reason for that, because international trade is mostly done in English.
All pilots speak English.
Right.
All air traffic control.
Think how crazy it would be if you couldn't speak to the pilot on a plane.
Yeah, I mean, or you're flying in from Malaysia and you're landing somewhere and you don't speak their language. Well, what good is it?
Imagine some like rogue state would just decide to give people who couldn't read road signs commercial driver's licenses.
That's how this got on my radar.
Okay.
So in March of 2019, we did the show why English first.
Yeah.
Because the English first movement was going on. Well, apparently they've been trying to pass this for years and years and years. But so that was almost 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so the CDL problem.
Yeah. So you have somebody driving down the highway and he can't read the road signs.
Yeah.
And he's a commercial driver.
Yeah.
What is going on here? Why would you allow something like that?
So what? All right. So hold on. Let's talk about what this official language thing does not do.
Right. It does not say that you must speak, like you can't speak another language. Nobody's going to break down your door and say, you're speaking Spanish, you have to leave.
No, but it doesn't say that all official government business must be conducted in English, which is what I am looking for out of my English is the official language of the United States.
That's what I would expect. Yeah.
But apparently this thing has no teeth. All it applies to is the executive branch.
Okay.
And all it really does...
You mean Trump's declaration?
Yes. First off, because it wasn't passed by Congress, it doesn't apply to states.
Right. So
it's just a federal rule, and all it does is kind of butts heads with a Clinton declaration saying, that, whatever, reasonable accommodations for language or whatever must.
Right.
Hey, but I mean, this is what I would like to see. This is what's not going on. So this thing doesn't have any teeth and doesn't do anything. I mean, the official language is on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And it doesn't change the rules for anybody because it doesn't apply to any states.
But there are some states that have.
Yes, there are 30 of them.
30 states have made English the official language.
Made English the official language. South Dakota has English and whatever. Chippewa or something.
Okay.
And Alaska also has English Plus.
Okay.
The ones that don't have any, and this includes even California.
Wow. Of course, Maryland doesn't have English as the
No, of course not. Yeah. But I'm surprised Texas. So, I guess my concern is, what is stopping a jurisdiction, an all-Mexican jurisdiction on the borders of Texas, from deciding we're going to conduct all of our business in Spanish?
Well, isn't there a governor in some state that can't speak English?
And it's And if it was sitting on the border of Texas, this is in Massachusetts.
Right.
He has a translator.
Right.
What are you people doing?
That's crazy. So I guess the question is, why is it important for a country to have an official language? Why does that matter?
Yes.
And I think there are some pretty obvious reasons. Language is the deepest carrier of culture, right? Like, there are a lot of things in your culture that are transmitted through language, idioms and jokes and just like a perspective on reality, the way you look at things, the words you use, the descriptions you use, all those things are part of the culture. The language, like we speak English, and we have all these idioms that come from Shakespeare and the Bible, and that's all part of the culture, all of the wrapping that come with English. So it is very definitely a part of the language itself drives a common culture.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have that, then you're going to have suspicion. You're going to have, like, here are these other people, they won't speak our language. And whenever you have somebody who's different in a way like that, you're going to have suspicion and distrust.
Yeah, right. You feel like there's talking behind your back.
Yes.
And you know, well, like the Declaration says, it helps newcomers engage in their communities, participate in national traditions, and give back to our society.
Yeah.
Right? Like that is...
If you live in this country and you can't speak English, then you can do a lot of cool things. You can start a business, you can make money, you can raise a family, you can do a lot of cool things. But you're not going to contribute to society as well as you would if you spoke English.
So that's you've made the cultural case. Let's get back over to the CDL.
Okay.
First off, they weren't even passing the tests.
Mm-hmm.
This was just a big sham. And this sort of came to light when that wreck in Florida,
right.
And they realized how many. It seems like a lot of Indians are undercut. They don't have a place to live.
Right.
They just live in the truck.
Yeah.
And then they undercut American drivers.
Yeah.
And they never even pass the test to begin with.
Yeah. Why would you allow that? Why would you allow that?
So what about? So as far as what an official language would mean, and like I said, it would mean that you have all school, public and private, has to be taught in English. That all government business has to be conducted in English. What if a school board in Dearborn had, a majority Arab-speaking school board,
right.
said, you know what, we're just going to teach in Arabic now. I mean, is there does the state or federal government have any recourse to say you can't do that if we don't have a declared language?
Probably not. Although, so, I'm not a huge fan of the concept of public school to begin with, but I'm not sure that you could require private schools to adopt. Like, let's say you have a private Hebrew school or a private school. Like, I have a friend who is a college professor. He's actually the dean at a college where they encourage everybody to speak Latin. And they'll have tables at the lunchroom. This is a Latin only table.
I have no problem with that. If you want to have, we have a French immersion school.
Sure.
And
you speak French there.
No, you can't. In Bigweed world, you can teach geography and literature in French, but it can't be the entire day. You'd have to cut off at some point.
I'm just not sure how they could require that of a private school legally. I'm not sure how that would work.
I don't know.
Yeah, but so I mean, to me, I don't mind people doing their own thing as long as they also know English. Yes.
Now, but what about other accreditation? What about nursing?
You're right.
What about being an electrician?
Sure.
Do you, it can, and this is private though, so this is a local, the Baltimore Washington Electricians Union has decided that you can take the electrician test in any language you want.
Yeah.
Would making it, even if we had our official language, it would still only apply to government-run stuff.
Yeah.
Even if you could take it down to the lowest level of government, it still would be hard to say that the electricians union could not offer their electricians exam in Hindi. But you consider that to be a disadvantage, obviously, when you're reading the instructions on the electrician's parts.
But if you're in Dearborn, Michigan,
and then Arabic would be just fine.
Maybe you'd be just fine only knowing Arabic. I don't know.
But wouldn't you expect that? So back to the nurses.
Yeah.
As an American citizen, don't you have the reasonable expectation that you can interact with your nurse
you would think
in
so.
English?
You would think so. You would think so. That if I'm in any state in this country,
yes,
and I get in a car accident and I'm in the hospital, I should be able to speak to the nurses in English.
And what obligation does America have to accommodate non-English speakers, such as does there have to be a translator for any kid from any place in any school in the country that the American taxpayer is responsible for?
Of course not. That's
or if you're a court translator,
right? Yeah, that's great. It's just absurd.
You would have to. I would say we can make this available, but you're paying for the service.
Yeah.
Right. Even as a if you're going on trial, do we have to find somebody who speaks Mongoloid or Mongolian?
I think it's good to have translators available in the court for Spanish, because there's a lot of people who speak Spanish. But for every single language on the planet, we couldn't possibly do it.
That's why you need to stop it at Spanish too, because why doesn't the Mongolian say, how come the Spanish, they get to get all of their they can take the driver's test, they can get their court, they can get the teachers. How come I don't? Why only the Spanish are not asked to learn English?
Well, I wouldn't put it on the driver's test. On the driver's test, you got to do English. I'm just saying, you're here in the country, you just moved from Mexico, and you get arrested and you're in court. Then in that case, I think it'd be okay to have a translator.
But I would say the financial burden is on somebody else, not the American taxpayer. Why does the American taxpayer have to pay for your translator? I'm sure there are enough Spanish speaking organizations out there, charitable organizations that can step up and provide that for you. So how about this?
Or you get a bilingual attorney to represent you.
Yeah. Right. And that's the service that he provides. That's why he gets chosen over his other attorney, because I provide this extra service, and good for him. He can do that. When I was one of the places I lived in Baltimore City, at the end of the block was the Lithuanian Hall.
Okay.
And there's also the Polish Social Club, and back from 100 years ago, and these were private, independent places where for that kind of thing. So the recent Polish immigrant, he doesn't know how to read he doesn't know how to read his bill.
Yeah.
He goes down to the Polish club, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not the responsibility of the government to make sure that you guys can form your little organizations, and that's where you pass on you do your Polish dancing with your grandchildren who've never been to Poland.
And those are all good things.
And those are all great things.
Right, yeah.
Yes. But I think that having English designated as the official language takes the burden off of government, of saying the American taxpayer is going to pay for your inability to speak English.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I got it.
Yeah. Okay.
But how about this? There was a guy. You know how they have signs at parks that for the scariest ride says not recommended for elderly or people with a heart condition or whatever. So this guy had a heart attack or whatever, and sues Disney World because the sign wasn't in Spanish.
Wow.
Can you see the slippery slope that you're about to go down here?
Right.
Again, why just him? How come? What about the Mongolian who says the sign wasn't the sign that says "Do not cross this barrier" because it's on a cliff?
Right.
This fence is electrified.
So we have to have,
how
we have
many
to have the sign
languages?
in 1,000 languages.
If you start going down this road,
Yes.
well, I didn't know one. It said one way, but hey, it wasn't in my language.
Yeah.
It was just in English.
In
Yes,
my
because it's
language,
the official language of the country.
Right. Yeah.
I just think that I don't see that there's a problem, but why wait till you have the problem to then fight it? Why don't you just nip it in the bud and say, this is it. I don't know what the reluctance to all of the efforts to pass this bill, which has been many, many times since 2000 that they keep coming up with this bill, a bill in Congress that doesn't get through. I can imagine somebody saying, well, what is the default? If you're a liberal and you don't like something, what do you call it?
It's racist.
Yes,
Of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the R word was thrown around quite liberally.
Of course it was. Yes. Yeah. So having a common language is good for the culture.
Yes.
It's good for prosperity.
Yes.
It's good for everybody in terms of being
Safety and liability.
Yes, safety and liability. It's good for having a standard that everybody is oriented towards.
Yeah.
Right, which is the same thing as kind of having a common culture, which is a good thing. And it's also, we're not telling people that they can't have church in Slavonic if they want to, or Russian or Greek or whatever else. We're not telling them they can't have their Polish club.
Right.
We're not telling them they can't do other things.
Well, that reminds this article here is the worst case of sophomoric what's the word straw manning.
Mm-hmm.
It says, why the United States does not have an official language.
Okay.
I mean, really, it's written by a 12th grader.
Okay.
From sea to shining sea, we are a diverse country, and declaring English as our official language makes America a hypocrite. How can we say that you must speak this one specific language upon entering our country when our own ancestors traveled here and didn't speak English? So, first off, nobody's saying that. That's not what English, the official language, does not mean when you step off the boat. You are only allowed to speak English. That's the straw man.
Yes.
Lame. Nobody is saying that. And the whole thing is about that. You cannot simply put all languages learn from one another. We cannot build a wall and tell people that they must conform. Not saying that. Everybody, the Polish club, the Lithuanians, you speak whatever you want. But
official government business is done in English. Yeah, that's all we're saying.
It's all we're saying. How dare you? Just so poorly written.
Yeah.
So lame.
So what are let's just for a minute, let's try to steel man the other side.
Yeah.
Let's try to say, why would someone say that we should not have it? What's the downside to have? So first of all, let's clarify what we mean. What we mean is official government business will be done in English. And if you need help translating things into English, then get help translating things into English, right? That's your responsibility. Official government business is done in English. So what's the downside to that? Like, why is that a problem? I think really, I'm stretching. I'm trying to. I don't think it's a problem. What I think it is an attack on. It's another attack on Western culture and Western civilization.
Yeah. It's
another way of saying we don't want Western civilization to be the norm and to be the expectation. We want to undermine.
Yeah.
This whole concept of Western American Christian, it's that attitude. It's like we don't want that to be what's dominant in the country.
Yes, and those in order to weaken it, you promote two things, which I've been calling BS on for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first was multiculturalism.
Right.
And then, how long has diversity as our strength been around? That's not as long, like
Not
maybe
as long.
10 years.
Yeah.
It's just not true.
Yeah.
Diversity is nice and it's fine, but so Tim Walz, God, what a douche he has turned out to be. I mean, worse than the jazz hands we saw. We were like when the election was over.
We
like,
totally dodged a bullet.
Thank God that
my
guy
gosh.
is not nowhere near the White House. But with this whole fraud business, now he's getting more and more attention, and he's looking worse and worse every time. So now that he's dropped out, but anyway, he's boasting, and I don't know why this is a flex. Probably coming to the aid of the Somalians because he's allowed their fraud, whatever. He's like, we have school districts where 50 languages are spoken.
Yeah.
And as soon as I hear that, I go, that sounds like a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right? It's like, okay, so, all right, well, we don't need to kick these people out just because they speak different languages, but we need a plan here. Because
we need a plan to get them to speak English.
This is not good.
Yeah.
This is going to be difficult. It's going to be a problem. And for example, that is to be in and of itself celebrated.
Right.
What's to celebrate? You have a school district to run. Do you have the resources that you have to drain off to deal with 50? So I'm not saying they should be, like I said, kicked out of the country, but recognize that this is not great.
Have these people read the story of the Tower of Babel? I mean, what would happen if all of a sudden God came down and made everybody speak a different language?
Yeah. It would be a punishment.
It would be a punishment.
Which is precisely what Babel was.
It would be a disaster.
Yeah.
Nobody could communicate with one another. There'd be no commerce. Everybody would be at each other's throat. Having everybody speaking a different language is not a good thing.
If you have a school system, the idea is to educate your children the best way that you can. Having to do it in 50 languages is not something to celebrate.
Yes.
It's going to be difficult and it's going to create problems, but be confident. Well, we'll figure it out. And Don't let's not get too upset about it. But it's nothing to celebrate.
No. If you have 50 languages and you're teaching them all to speak English, lovely. I guess. Why do we have people with 50 languages anyway? 50 is a lot.
I know. Probably made that up because it probably made him sound cooler in his own mind.
But he is totally a douchebag. I mean, he has become recently. He's basically been threatening civil war.
Yes, he said He basically is saying we're going to bring the National Guard in with guns to take on ICE.
Yeah,
that
guy. He should be locked up. But that's not our topic.
It's not our topic. Yes, of course, right. And then in the schools, yes, they are trying to teach. But imagine having all English speakers and trying to teach them, and now you have 50 languages, and you're trying to. Yeah, but what about, you don't want to just teach them English, don't you? We're in the process of teaching math and history and science and geography.
Right.
And now you got to fight through 50 languages anyway.
Yeah.
And of course,
Doesn't make any sense.
It all has to be of course, the goal is to have everybody in English. Can you take your high school
GED
in any language you want?
Hope not. Yeah. All right. So, okay. Bottom line is, let's have a common language. Allow people to speak other languages.
And
but
the
official business is English.
And this executive order didn't get us anywhere. I mean, it needs to be.
It needs to be a law.
It needs to be a Congress passed
law.
And I'm glad to see that we've got at least 30 states who have. Taking the Senate, not Maryland, of course.
Of course not.
Well, come on, Texas. I mean, anybody, Texas and Michigan, those are the two I'm most concerned about. Maybe in Minnesota before they got to get rid of that flag too. That thing sucks. All right.
Cheers. Thanks so much for listening to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Remember to visit us at pigweedandcrowhill.com or send us an email at pigweedshow@gmail.com.